You know, Africa is not about money. Though you need money to survive here, Africa is about character and attitude. If you have good attitude, you can survive and make it big in Africa. But if you don't have that character and attitude, no matter how much money you have, it go just swallow you up, chew you up, and then spit you out. Africa, I love it too much. So honest.
And yo, what's this with you Jamaicans hating us Africans? What did we do wrong? All the time Jamaicans are telling me, oh, I don't like Africans. Bro, I'm South African. I'm South African. You thought I was white. You said, yeah, I like you because you're white. Bro, I'm South African. You fucking, bro. Yo, why do Jamaicans have so much hate? What did we do? Because I know I didn't ruin no reputation. I'm a nice person. Why do Jamaicans and Africans have beef, bro? Why? What the fuck? At the end of the day, we're all black. Okay, my skin tone might have been lacking in the genetic pools, but we're all the same, bro. We're all just black people, bro. What the fuck? Yo, stop fucking causing fucking separation, bro. Like, come on, bro. Live amongst each other. And I don't know why it works like this, bro. Every single Jamaican just hates Africans for no damn reason.
I'm from Africa. Yeah. So yeah, I came to visit Jamaica. So I wanted to ask Jamaicans what they think of Africa.
Africa, me not like African people, but they like African. Don't like African.
Why?
African people believe in a Wobia.
Believe in what?
Wobia.
What's Wobia?
You don't know Wobia? I hear big food. And then African people, when you eat susumba, then tell us say you work Wobia. Then like people eat susumba meat.
What is susumba? No.
Yeah.
Okay, and then?
Yeah, that's why I mean like nobody. And then love take away people, man.
We love what?
Take away people, man. The Nigerian, sure, they want to take away people, the man. The elf, take away the wife, man, and them all.
Really?
Yeah, they love take away people, man.
All of them?
Yeah.
All of them?
No, I don't know. I don't know what they talk.
Wow. Anything else? No, you don't want to visit Africa? Do you want to visit Africa?
No, I don't want to go to Africa. I'm not young.
What? Why?
I feel from in the Africa and gone. I just see my body. But people can't go Africa.
What?
Yes, people can't go Africa. I'm bad.
You bad?
Yeah, right now. People can't love lick too much. Yeah, I want to love lick up your fight.
You love liquor too much? African?
Yeah, I love back.
What is back? What is liquor and back? Who is back? Man, please. What did you say? What is back? What is back? You said you love back. What is back? Sorry? She said she doesn't want to help us with the what did she just say? Just after I met people who really love Africa, how to meet people who really don't want anything to do with Africa.
So there's a video going around of what appears to be a Chinese Jamaican woman really coming for black African people from Jamaica, particularly those of us who live a foreign, yeah, in relation to issues of blackness, Africanness, and the possession of a passport or lack thereof. People are sending me this video and they ask me what I have to say about it. And the reality is, I have nothing to say to she. Any non-African person from Jamaica or anywhere else in the world that has a problem with Africans from Jamaica, yard or foreign, asserting our Africanness and our blackness, that a feeding problem. This is not something that we should feel the need to justify, apologize for, or even explain, especially when you consider the colonial and neo-colonial experience of African Jamaicans and how that results in the migration of African Jamaicans, as well as the extent to which the colonizer attempted to sever us from a sense of heritage and a sense of culture. That alone tell you everything what you need to know about the mentality of the smaddy will make that the video there. So when I have nothing more to say about that except to affirm the teachings of Marcus Mosiah Garvey when Africans of his time were being challenged in relation to our affirmation and assertion of racial and cultural pride. Let contrary sentiments and cross opinions go to the winds. We are entitled to our own opinions and not obligated or bound by the opinions of others. Oh, having said that, I was listening to Running African, hosted by Sister Kabo Maat Keru Wadeya, and she featured a story on some events and conversations that were taking place in Jamaica on this issue. Take a listen.
You notice that there's a big conversation going on here in Jamaica right now about Mark Golding and whether or not he's black or white. And you heard a response where, we have all kinds of people, because the motto is out of many one. So this is what we're hearing now, right? That, we have Chinese Jamaican, we have Indian Jamaican, and so on. And the person who was speaking, I think it might have been Mr. Morgan himself, called out every other race Jamaican apart from African Jamaican. That in itself was telling.
So it does seem, yes, that the African Jamaicans' assertion and affirmation of our Africanness does seem to make some people very, very uncomfortable. And we should be aware of this and what agenda it serves. But beyond that, make we assert with Africanness and with blackness without fear or favor. And not make nobody make you feel shame or make you feel like you do them something wrong when you assert your blackness and your Africanness. Our heritage and our culture cannot be bound by a passport and cannot be dictated to us by anybody other than ourselves if we are guided by the principle of self-determination.
Jamaicans, oh my, I don't want to say Jamaicans don't like Africans. I was speaking to North about this and he was like, why are Jamaicans the way they are? I said, because we feel like you lot are like, they made a deal with the ops, innit? Like, you make deals with man that don't like man, and Jamaicans feel like they strongly feel like this as well, especially older Jamaicans, bro. Me, obviously, growing up around different people, I'm very different, innit? But older Jamaicans, oh my, what? Oh my day. Bro, they're like, nah, these lot, what? And the thing is as well, even like when it comes down to Jamaicans, when we came to England, we had to pressure the English. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then we noticed that, not Africans in this generation, but older generation Africans, they kind of kiss these lots' ass. So again, that's another thing where like, why do you not pressure them like we? As a Caribbean, we know this. And that's why we don't really like them. Like Jamaicans especially. Like, if you ask some of my family members about Africans, they're not trying to hear it at all. Like, they're not. Like, they're not trying to hear nothing. Like, they're not trying to hear nothing still. And I don't agree with it because obviously I've got a lot of African friends. At the end of the day, if you know about the William Lynch letter, it was to divide us in the first place. So like, Jamaicans feel strongly like, no, you not worked with the ops, bro. You get me? And they're not, in my opinion, they're not really wrong to feel like that. You know what I'm trying to say? Because if we're getting into the actuality of it, that's what happened, isn't it? You know what I'm trying to say? So
I need the Black community to listen to me and listen to me well. I need you to share this information with everyone you know, and I need you to stay for this entire video. I have been trying to sound the alarm on something that is going on that I believe is going to affect us by this summer, and it is being strategically done, and we have already seen it happen in other countries, but I'm not getting the message to the target audience. So if you see this comment, say something, do anything, so we can protect our own. Now, I have made multiple videos about Indiana and how they have become the center for ICE, as well as the center for a lot of trials that they want to do globally. I have made it painfully aware of the different legislature that is being passed that can potentially harm the Black community, that is aimed directly at our community. And as someone who lives in a predominantly Black area, one of the only predominantly Black areas in Indiana, I want you to know Palantir billboards have been popping up. A few months ago, I warned you about how they are using Indiana as a center for ICE and that they are gearing up and planning something over the summer, and it has nothing to do with Hispanics. I also read to you the piece of legislation that was passed and how they have been strategically removing Black people from institutions in Indiana as well as other locations. But the over-policing of Black people in my community especially has reached an entirely new level, and we've already seen this happen, and Joe Rogan just brought it up on his podcast. 2 days ago, Palantir billboards popped up in my community, and Palantir billboards also popped up in 2 other predominantly Black areas across the country, and I'm gonna prove it to you. And Palantir billboards popping up in this specific community in which I live that is majority Black doesn't make any sense because it's a very underdeveloped city. Like, the city is damn near eroding. Now, these billboards displayed a Palantir, and they said America's future. These billboards were also implemented in 2 locations in Ohio as well as Pennsylvania. They were put in Cleveland, which is predominantly black, as well as Youngstown and Braddock and Wheeling, Pennsylvania and Ohio. All of these communities are at least 80% black and considered underdeveloped or eroding. Right after the Palantir billboards popped up in my community, I kid you not, they have started implementing drones. These drones are used as surveillance, and they are going around surveillancing black neighborhoods with drones and also issuing tickets for any infraction on the road. Literally, it's getting creepy. I don't know if you just saw the Theo Von podcast with Joe Rogan talking about how Palantir was used in that one place to help facilitate the mass you-know-what aside, and how they used surveillance and some of the fire was coming from down, not what we thought. Peter Thiel has talked about a surveillance state and how he's felt about the black community. But what I don't think people understand is what they're using and going to test on us. And it's getting closer and closer. And I see it in my own fucking community. For Palantir billboards to pop up, and then right after we have drones flying over our fucking city, issuing tickets. And we have the over-policing and gentrification of an area because police officers from every jurisdiction have only been in this area, in my neighborhood and community. Multiple jurisdictions and counties are patrolling this area to the point you can't turn a corner without someone being on the corner. Indiana has forced compliance with ICE. They are using Indiana as a training ground and have stated so for ICE agents. I know for a fact, black communities, the deployment of Palantir in them is not a fucking coincidence, and I am seeing it firsthand, and I need y'all to wake up. I know we're resting, but we can't be blind. While we're sitting on our asses, they're pulling shit right in front of us, and no one's listening. I can't say too much, but I have to take a break from distraction and get back to fucking reality. If there was ever a time to come together, I'm 100% certain just from looking out my window, it's fucking now.
Honor me every day.
When you hear the name Africa, what comes to mind?
Me.
You? Mm-hmm. Why you?
That's where I'm from.
That's where you're from? Mm-hmm. What part of Africa are you from?
Everywhere.
The whole of Africa?
African America. You gotta get Africa out of African American, don't you?
But if you want to choose one African country, what country will it be?
Ghana.
Why Ghana?
I love Ghana.
Have you been to Ghana before?
No.
Why do you love Ghana?
I would love to go to Ghana.
You would love to go to Ghana?
Something about Ghana. I want to go to Ghana.
Would you like to relocate to Ghana?
I would love to relocate to Ghana.
What part of Ghana do you know?
It don't even matter. I just know Ghana. I really want to go to Ghana.
When do you want to go to Ghana?
Yesterday, if I could.
Yesterday, if you could?
If I could, yeah.
Today, if you can?
Yep.
And tomorrow, if you can?
Yep.
So every day for you is every day in Ghana?
Ghana me every day.
Yeah, man.
It's a Rasta place, Rasta home.
Rasta place. What? In general, the man I unite Africa and the world, you know, man. In general, they say that, man. You can make any video, man. You okay? Yeah. So you like it, man?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Where you from?
From Ghana.
Ghana,
man. Then come from to man. West Africa, that's where I'm going to live now. You believe I'm going to live in the West here?
Yeah.
Ghana have me yard and they will build me house and live now.
You live in Ghana?
You know Ghana with Jamaican come from? West Africa, that's where I plan to live. I couldn't die in this island here, man. I have to go
you want to go back to Ghana?
I don't want to, that's where I'm going to live.
Oh, wow.
That's where I'm going to build my house and do everything and take all my money, go relax.
Oh, that's so cool.
Now Ghana, man. I have whole people to live in Ghana.
So you plan to live in Ghana when... you plan to move to Ghana after how long?
Yes, not move to Ghana. Plan to go back home. That's where that's my heritage. That's my ancestors. That's where I come from.
I love that.
Yo, okay.
They took me. They took my predecessor down here.
Me have to look far if I find
400 years ago. I'm bringing them to the Caribbean, but that's where I'm from. Jamaicans, West Africa, Ghana. That's where all my generation is. I have to go back there to see my great grandparents.
Wow. I said like Africa is ready to embrace you.
Yes, but for you see me, anywhere I'm at in the world, I'm a stranger, but Africa can't reject me because look for me. You know, me African, me never lose my identity in our earth, you know.
Wow,
So,
we're so happy to hear that because you find that many black people, when you tell them they're from Africa, they feel like you're insulting them.
no, but it's a culture. This is what it is. That's what the slave master do. The slave master, what the slave master do is colonize your mind. And when a man control your mind, he control all of your structure for a long time. He don't pay you. So that's what the slave master does. But no me a rebel. I'm a rogue. I never forget my past. So you know, when they tell me I'm gone and I plan to go live for a long time, that's where my house going there. My house and my grass and my flowers and my family and my everything for a long time. That's man. When me get all of this, someone want me structure for them. Yeah man. Me have to move out of this life of Ghana.
Yeah.
Yeah man.
We have so many Africans that watch us across the globe. If you have a message for them, what would that message be?
To the Africans?
Africans across the globe.
Unite. Africa have to unite. Collaborate and unite. Nothing no better than that. Anytime them get up and unite, them own everything. You know. So a unite, Africa need to unite. Trade with them one another. Do business with them one another. Have we own banks. Have we own supermarket.
Yeah, but I'm boss, man.
Them things that we need to do, you know. Yeah. Just like how the white man unite and have things and slavery for a long time. Look at the Jews. The Jews go up and becomes the richest people in the world. So what happened to the black man? Get up, Marcus Garvey said. The mighty race need to get up.
Wow. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wagwan, beautiful and amazing people. Thank you so much for always coming back. I truly appreciate your support. So in today's video, we are going to talk about a very emotional video that connects Africa to Jamaica, the land that we all love. So if you sit down there as a Jamaican, what do you always think about Africa? And so many people have come out on these platforms talking about Africa, and that's what we're gonna discuss in today's video. That is what Jamaicans really think or feel about Africa as a continent and Africa as the people or Africans. So Jamaica and Africa are two different places that are deeply connected by history but separated by time, culture and perception. So in actually today we are going to, or we have already listened to this particular street interviews and even Jamaicans recording themselves and saying something about Africa, you know. That's what we will majorly discuss. So of course it's kind of emotional, it's conflicting, and of course surprising at the same time, because who expected that this particular lady will say that he doesn't like Africans because of them practicing witchcraft. And this all stories that she's saying, she watched them in movies. You know, Nigeria is very, very entertaining in terms of movies. They create a lot of movies, they act them. So when you watch and believe, I mean, I didn't really even find it normal when this lady talked about it. Now let's just talk about these particular stories, because you know most Jamaicans, as we all know, are descendants of Africans, and these particular people, they were taken through the transatlantic slave trade, or during that time, during the transatlantic slave trade, and that is through the Atlantic Ocean. And of course, if you look at the connection itself, it's very deep and complicated, because now you see Jamaicans, they want to come back to their land, to Africa, because this is where they identify themselves. They know they come from Africa, they are 100% sure. But again, some of their ancestors like remained there like since like over 100 years ago, and now they have never been to Africa, some of them, but they really wish like they could come back to Africa. So some Jamaicans believe that Africa is home, and of course, we have the other group of Jamaicans who feel that, Africa is a place that we have already disconnected from. So, like, why should we even be talking about Africa in the first place? So, anyway, this conversation is very powerful, guys, because connecting two places that is has a deep history but separated by time, culture, and whatever it is. So many Jamaicans are really proud of Africa, and they consider it as their root, like their pride and identity. This is where we belong. So Africa, in most of Jamaican people, is home, as we had said. They know that they came from Africa. They know that it's their roots, their culture, their blood. Like you cannot tell anybody anything that you are not African. No, at the end of the day, they are African. So if you look at Rastafarianism, that is a belief in Ethiopia, but culture uh, in Jamaica. Anyway, guys, most of the time when you ask a Jamaican about Africa, the first thing that you'll hear from them is pride. And I know I've already talked about it in earlier in this conversation. So there is a deep awareness that this is where we come from if you actually talk to a Jamaican. So it's not just about a general thing. It's in culture, it's in music, it's in spirituality. I mean, it's everywhere, because all these things, I mean, them being proud about Africa, you'll actually hear it in reggae music, you'll see it in Rastafari traditions, and you'll feel it in the way people talk about their ancestry. They're so proud. They identify themselves as Africans, especially the West Africans. So Africa, if you talk about Africa, for many Jamaicans, it isn't just a continent; it's a root. That's why they identify themselves. But at the same time, that connection doesn't always come with a proper understanding, because we also have the other side of the story, whereby a lot of Jamaicans did not actually grow up learning about Africa and understanding it, and learning about it in detail. So they don't really know about the countries that are there in Africa. Most of them know of Africa as a country, but I can tell you that Africa is a continent with 54 countries in it. So they also grow up, many Jamaicans have grown up not knowing the cultures in Africa. They have grown up not knowing about the modern Africa, how it actually looks like. They only know of what has been fed by the colonizers. So at the end of the day, what you'll actually find out is that Africa becomes more of an idea to them than a real place and a real location, a real destination. Anyway, I thank God, and we thank God that at least for them it's home, and it's as much as it's an home of a kind of unknown home, but at least they are proud that they come from there. So if you look at media for so many years, the dominant image of Africa has been that of African children struggling, African homes are struggling, poverty, they only show conflicts, hardship. But guess what? Platforms like YouTube have actually exposed the truth. And now, Africa is being, we have content creators, like they show the real Africa. They tell the stories of Africa, the food, the culture, and people get to learn. So we really thank God that technology is at least exposing the lies that have always been hidden by the media for so many years. So naturally, some Jamaicans, they actually end up viewing Africa like it's a place where people are just struggling, a lot of conflict, violence, but that is the picture that has been painted into their minds, not the reality. If they come to Africa themselves, they'll experience the beauty, the love, the good weather, and they'll fall in love with it, especially with the fact that Africans are so loving, welcoming, unlike the opposite, like when an African goes to the other side of the world, what they face, the first thing they face is racism. So of course, they're not all the real story, and that's because it's not like these people even hate Africa, but at the end of the day, it's because that is the version that has been instilled in their minds, and it has all that dominant picture story. It has always been shown to them like one by like over and over and over and over again. And it's unfortunate that when some of these people visit Africa, they only take pictures of places that look really bad, the children that look really really sad and poverty stricken, and then those are the pictures that they take to other parts of the world to show them. And to them, they are enriching themselves through these foundations. Anyway, Africa, if you talk about Africa today, it's all about growth, it's all about innovations, it's all about a culture that influences the entire world. But again, most of these stories don't really reach everyone the same time and the same way. So historically, there has been tension between the two continents, the Caribbean and the other side of Africa. So Jamaicans have carried this question with them for so many years with a lot of discomfort around the idea that Africa were involved in the slave trade. And I don't know if that is true, guys. Probably you could comment down below and let us know what you think about that. Do you think that Africans played part in the slave trade thing? Do you think that they gave out their sons, their daughters, their dads? And if they gave out, like, what could have been the reason? Were they were they forced to do that? That has been there in the history, and some Jamaicans always feel bad about it. But again, you weren't there like over 100 years ago, so who are we to judge? So what do you think is the truth? Because for some people, this story has created a feeling of like, how do I connect with people that in the first place they tied me and gave me out to the colonizer? Like, those are some of the questions that are being asked. So you can sometimes find that some Jamaicans, they see Africa and Jamaica as those people that actually went through the same struggle, but in a in different ways of history. I hope you understand that. So even within Jamaica, there is no shared emotional response. So this is a very critical conversation that really needs to be talked about deeply. And of course, everybody always has identity struggle, especially if you have no parents. Most of the people, when you lose parents, you feel like, oh my God, now where am I going to identify myself? Like, this is where I come from. Like, as an African, we are always proud of identifying ourselves. Like, I come from this place, I live here, and my dad is from this place, my mom is from this place. Our village is called this, our location, our chief, that's how people get to identify you or identify themselves. But then, when it comes to Jamaica and Africa and the topic that we are talking about in today's video, Jamaicans have always identified themselves as Africans, and this is really interesting because Jamaica in itself, it has built something very powerful, and that is a culture that as a culture that stands on its own. By the way, it has a global influence, it has a strong identity and a sense of pride that does not really need to depend on anyone. So the big question here is that are Jamaicans really Africans? If you are asked that question, like, what would you say? What would you say, guys? Kindly comment down below. But of course, nobody knows the truth. Anyway, guys, some Jamaicans, you'll find them fully embracing the African identity. Others will feel like Jamaica is home and they can never be separated from Jamaica. But again, if you comment down below, you will let us know like what you think. You'll actually be a, a very important person here, because contributing to the topic really helps us understand these things way better. So there is a new generation. Each and every time there is a generation, and each generation goes through different phases, and they are not the same like the previous ones. So there's a lot of things that are changing now, especially perspective wise, because if you look at the young Jamaican male and female, they are seeing Africa like differently, not like the those other generations. So we've seen this through music, social media, and a culture that kind of feel modern and relatable. So we have seen so many people talking about even fashion, business, all of these things we get to see and learn, and people get to be curious in a way that never ever existed before. There was no curiosity, was something that wasn't really there, like very powerful back then, but today you'll see that in young Jamaican people. So now what we are seeing is distance that has been brought closer by a lot of interesting things, and you'll find that many Jamaicans are telling themselves like maybe we should reconnect with our people there in Africa. Anyway, at the end of the day, what Jamaicans think about Africa is not just like really matters, because all in all, this is a mix of pride, distance, history, curiosity, and at the end of the day, it's people who are trying to make sense of where they come from while still holding on to who they are today. So thank you so much. If you watched the clip up to this point, I really do appreciate your presence here. I'll see you in the next video, same time.